Have you ever carried love in your hands, only to have it pushed to the ground by the very child you raised? I used to believe that a mother's love could survive anything, distance, silence, even pride. But I never imagined the day my own daughter would look at me, not with affection, but with fear that I might ruin her perfect life. I still remember that morning in California. The sky was soft and golden, the air smelled faintly of orange blossoms. I packed a simple bag of fresh oranges from my garden, the same kind I used to peel in spirals when my daughter Clara was little. I thought she'd smile, maybe hug me, maybe say, "Mama, I've missed you." But instead, she opened the door and her eyes widened, not in joy, but panic. Behind her I saw cameras, bouquets, expensive shoes lined by the door, important people, investors, journalists. And then, she whispered, like I was a stain on the floor, "What are you doing here? You weren't supposed to come. They think you're dead." And before I could even breathe, she shoved me. The oranges slipped from my arms. They rolled down her perfect marble steps, and the door slammed shut. But what she didn't know, what no one knew, is that I hadn't come to beg. I had come to remember who I was. Before she erased me, stay with me. Because this isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about a mother who was buried alive by her own child's success, and how she chose not to die quietly. They say a mother knows when something is wrong. But what they don't tell you is, sometimes a mother knows, but her heart begs her not to believe it. That's what happened to me that morning in California. I told myself I was only going to visit, to bring Clara a bag of oranges from my little yard and surprise her, like I used to when she was young. But deep down, I think my soul already knew this visit wouldn't end with tea and conversation. Her mansion stood like a glass palace, towering white columns, a silver gate that buzzed before it let me in, fountains whispering in the courtyard. My home could fit inside her foyer twice over. Still, I held my head high. I clutched the bag of oranges close, their warmth from the sun pressing into my palms like old memories, sticky fingers, little girl laughter, summers when love lived in simple things. I rang the bell. I prayed she'd smile. When the door opened, time stopped. Clara stood there in a white silk suit, her dark hair swept perfectly to the side, lips painted deep red, nothing like the girl who used to run barefoot through rain puddles. Her smile didn't come. Instead, her face drained of color. "Mom, what are you doing here?" she hissed, barely moving her lips. "Not Mom, not you're here." "No." Her voice trembled with anger, or was it fear? Before I could answer, I saw why. Over her shoulder, I could see them. Journalists with cameras, someone holding a clipboard, champagne flutes on a silver tray. They were recording something, filming her, and then, like ice, I heard her words. "They think you're dead. They think I grew up alone." My heart lurched. "What? Clara, why would you?" She grabbed my arm, her nails pressing into my skin. "Leave, now, before someone sees you." I stepped back, trying to catch my breath. I held the oranges up like a quiet offering. "I brought you these." She looked at them like they were poison. And then, she pushed me. Not a soft nudge, not an accident, a full shove. My feet slipped on the smooth stone. I fell backwards. The bag ripped. The oranges tumbled out, bouncing down the steps like tiny suns crashing to earth. One rolled to her feet. She didn't pick it up. She didn't even look at me. She only glanced at the door behind her, terrified someone might see, and then, with a coldness I still feel in my bones, she whispered, "You don't belong in this life, Marion. You never did." The door shut, and the world went quiet. I sat there for a moment, knees aching, heart breaking. I stared at the oranges scattered on the polished stone. I thought of the girl I raised, the girl who once said, "Mama, I'll take care of you one day." And I wondered, when did she decide I was a burden she had to bury? But what I didn't know then was that this wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning, because behind that slammed door, a secret waited, one she never meant for me to see, and it would change everything. I don't know how long I sat there on those cold marble steps, knees burning, palms scraped, staring at the oranges scattered like broken promises. The air was still. Even the wind seemed too polite to move. I should have left. Any reasonable woman would have. But heartbreak can root you to the ground like an old tree, silent, stubborn, unmoving. I stood slowly, my bones protesting, and gathered whatever was left of the torn paper bag. I left the oranges where they fell. Let them rot at her doorstep, I thought. Let them remind her of where she came from. I turned to leave, but before I could step down the final stair, I heard it. The door handle moved again. Instinctively, I stepped behind one of the stone columns out of sight. The door opened, not wide, just enough for someone to slip through, not Clara. An elderly woman stepped out, silver hair neatly pinned, a soft shawl wrapped around her shoulders, gentle eyes that belonged to someone's grandmother, but not mine. She looked fragile, tender, even kind. And for a fleeting second, I wondered if she might help me. Then I heard Clara's voice from inside. "There you are. Everyone's ready. Don't forget, when I introduce you, just smile and nod. You're the reason I survived. You're the mother who never gave up on me." "Mother." My breath caught. The old woman smiled nervously, then stepped forward, just enough for me to see the scene inside the foyer, lights, cameras, reporters ready with microphones. I heard Clara say, with that polished, perfect smile she only wears for the world, "Everyone, this is my mother. She lost everything to raise me. She's the reason I'm standing here today." And that woman, the stranger, lifted her hand and waved, to my daughter's guests, to the press, to the lie. My jaw went slack. I wanted to scream, to run inside and shout, "I'm her mother." I picked oranges for her lunch. I braided her hair. I bled, worked, sacrificed for her. But I didn't move because no one would have believed me, not over her, not over the cameras, not over the pretty story wrapped in tragedy and revenge. So I stood there, half hidden behind the column, as they clapped. For another woman living my life. The old woman leaned in and whispered something to Clara. They shared a smile, the kind reserved for family, real or not. In that moment, something inside me cracked, not with rage, but clarity. My daughter hadn't just erased me, she had rewritten me, buried me under the floorboards of her success, and replaced me with someone softer, quieter, someone who wouldn't remind her of the truth. But lies, even beautiful ones, have a way of unraveling. And hers was about to, because the woman pretending to be my daughter's mother had secrets of her own. And I was about to discover every single one. I walked away from that mansion with empty hands and stinging skin. But it wasn't the bruises on my knees that hurt. It was the silence, the kind that follows betrayal, the kind that settles into your bones and makes you wonder if love ever existed at all, or if it was just a story you told yourself to survive. The street outside her gated home was lined with manicured hedges and silent fountains. No birds, no laughter, just that kind of wealth that makes the world quiet on purpose. I clutched the handles of the torn bag as though it could keep me from falling apart. One orange had rolled to the edge of the driveway. I bent down, picked it up, brushed the dust away with my sleeve. It smelled like home, sunlight, earth, summers long gone. Before I could think twice, I placed it gently on the stone pillar beside the gate and whispered, "Let this be the thing she can't ignore." Then I walked. The bus stop was almost a mile away. I moved slowly, not because I was weak, but because I didn't know where to go next. I wasn't just a mother turned away at her daughter's door. I was unrecognized, unwritten, a name struck from the page of someone else's life. When I reached the little wooden bench at the bus stop, I didn't sit immediately. I just stood holding the empty paper bag as traffic passed like a river I couldn't enter. Finally, I sat down. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from a realization. I had spent my life saving Clara. Who then would save me? A breeze carried the faint scent of jasmine from a nearby garden. I closed my eyes and for a moment, I saw her again. Not the woman in white silk inside that mansion, but the little girl with tangled hair and orange juice dripping down her chin, laughing because I had peeled the fruit in one perfect spiral. I pressed a hand to my chest to steady the ache. That memory, so small, so pure, felt like it belonged to another lifetime. Maybe it did. The bus arrived with a hiss, and I climbed aboard carefully. I paid with coins. No one asked why my skirt was dusty or why I held an empty bag like it was something holy. I sat by the window and watched that house disappear through the trees. In that silence, a new thought took root inside me. She erased me, but I'm still here. Maybe she could shut the door. Maybe she could build a career on a lie. Maybe she could replace me with a stranger who smiled better on camera. But she couldn't take the truth, not forever. And I was tired of being quiet, because that night I made a decision, one that would uncover secrets far darker than I ever imagined, including the truth about the woman pretending to be my child's mother. Will called the next morning, earlier than I expected. The sun was barely up, painting my kitchen in pale gold. My coffee had just begun to cool when the phone rang. "Marion," he said. No small talk. I found something, and you're not going to like it. I gripped the edge of the table. Is it about Clara? No, he replied. It's about the woman she introduced as her mother. I didn't realize I was holding my breath until my chest started to ache. Her name is Margaret Hale, I said quietly. At least, that's what Clara called her. That's not her name, Will said flatly. He continued, unfolding the truth one layer at a time, like peeling an orange, but instead of sweetness inside, there was rot. Her real name wasn't Margaret. It was Deborah Ann Kilroy. She wasn't a retired teacher or a humble widow, like Clara's speeches claimed. She wasn't from a small town. There was no dead husband, no dramatic story of raising a miracle child in poverty. Her history was stitched together with lies. She's been using different names for years, Will said, papers rustling in the background. 3 aliases in the past decade alone, all tied to different wealthy public figures, CEOs, authors, philanthropists. Always the same script. Long-lost mother comes back, tearful reunion, heartfelt speeches, and then? He paused. I swallowed. She disappears every time, right after money gets involved. I stared at the wall. So, she's a con artist? Yes, he said slowly, and your daughter is either her victim or her partner. The room felt smaller. My hands shook just slightly, but I kept my voice steady. What about Clara? Did she know? That, he said. I can't answer yet. He offered to send the documents. I told him to send everything. After I hung up, I didn't move for a while. I just sat in the quiet, listening to the slow tick of the kitchen clock. I should have been relieved, maybe even vindicated, but I wasn't. Because now I understood something terrible. This woman, Deborah, Margaret, whoever she was, didn't just steal my place in Clara's life. She stole my story, and Clara let her, or worse, she helped her. The documents arrived by noon. Will had highlighted the most important parts. Old photos, bankruptcy records, employment files. There was even an image of Deborah standing beside another woman, another wealthy figure, smiling like she'd earned her place there. But it was the final page that made my blood run cold. A handwritten note, recovered from a previous case. It said, "People don't question a mother who cries," because that was the moment I realized. If she could steal my story, she could also destroy it. And if I didn't act soon, everything I had ever lived, loved, sacrificed, would vanish for good. After Will's call, I sat in the stillness of my little kitchen. The papers spread out in front of me like pieces of a broken mirror. Each document reflected a truth I didn't want to face. The woman Clara called mother was a fraud, and my own daughter helped her build that lie. But if they thought I'd stay quiet, they had forgotten who raised Clara in the first place. By afternoon, I pulled the old tin box toward me again, the one that had sat under my bed for years, dented, dusty, but full of memories no one could rewrite. I opened it with trembling fingers. Inside lay everything I had never thrown away, though life gave me every reason to. There was Clara's birth certificate, edges worn from time, my name, Marian Elizabeth Cole, written in faded ink. There were hospital pay stubs from the night shifts I worked when she was little, a photo of her first school uniform, patched at the sleeves because I couldn't afford a new one. And then, carefully folded, the letter she wrote me at 17, the one that used to make my heart swell with pride. "Mom, you're the only reason I'm here. I'll make you proud. I promise I'll never forget you." But she did. I placed each item on the table gently, like laying down pieces of a ceremony, not of grief, of remembrance. My hands stopped on a small, crumpled receipt. The train ticket I bought to visit Clara at college. I remembered standing outside her dorm, holding a basket of homemade jam and oranges. She opened the door, smiled nervously, said she didn't have time. That was the first time I felt like a visitor in my own child's life. I pressed my palm flat over the documents. They didn't feel like victory or revenge. They felt like proof I existed. Then I made another decision. I would not beg Clara to acknowledge me. I would not ruin her life with headlines or shouting matches. But I would protect the truth, my truth, before it was stolen again. So I called Will back. "I'm in," I said quietly. "Whatever it takes." He waited a moment before saying, "Then you need more than memories. You'll need legal proof, financial records, witness statements. Everything." "I have something better," I whispered. "I have the beginning of the story, and I won't let someone else write the ending." That night, I took pictures of every document, High resolution, clear, undeniable. I organized them in folders, dates, photos, letters, receipts. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like planting seeds in the ground after a fire. Fragile, but full of possibility. Before I went to bed, I took one orange from the remaining pile. I washed it, peeled it in one long spiral, placed it on the windowsill, not for Clara, but for the woman I used to be. Because the next day, I learned something that shattered me more than Clara's betrayal. She wasn't just lying about me, she was profiting from it. The next morning, Will called again. Not with questions, but with evidence. "You need to see this for yourself," he said. His voice was calm, but I heard something underneath. Disgust, pity, maybe both. He sent me a link. It was Clara, my daughter, on a glossy magazine cover. Perfect makeup, pearl earrings, a soft smile. The headline read, "From Orphan to Empire, How Clara Cole Built Her $1 Million Brand After Losing Her Mother at T6." My hands went cold. I clicked the video interview below. Clara sat on a velvet chair, legs crossed, hands folded gently, like she had been trained to look fragile. "My mother died when I was little," she said softly. "She sacrificed everything for me before she passed. I remember. She used to peel oranges for me in one long spiral. It's why I named my charity Orange Roots Foundation. It's all for her." Oranges. She took our memory, my memory, and turned it into profit. The interviewer leaned forward, emotional. "So you grew up alone?" Clara nodded, eyes shimmering with fake tears. "Foster care. Shelters. But I promised myself I'd become someone she could be proud of. A lie. All of it." My hands clenched the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turned white. I was not dead. I was not gone. I was right here peeling oranges in a quiet kitchen she never visits. Will's voice broke into my fury. "That's not all." He sent another file, a contract, a branding deal. Clara had sold her life story, our life story, to a streaming platform for $2.5 million. A movie, a book, merchandise, bracelets shaped like orange peels, and the final line of the contract burned into me. All maternal rights and likenesses belong solely to the character Evelyn, a fictional deceased mother. Not Marion, not me, a fictional corpse. I couldn't breathe for a moment. The room blurred, not because I hated her, but because I couldn't recognize her anymore. She didn't just erase me, she replaced me, and then she sold the replacement to the world. I whispered to no one. Why, Clara? Why wasn't I enough alive but perfect dead? I walked outside to the small tree I had planted from the seed of the very orange she spilled on her doorstep when she pushed me away. It had grown, thin, small but stubborn. A single fruit hung from its branch. I touched it gently. That was when I made my choice, not to destroy her, not to forgive her, but to tell the truth, even if my voice trembled and only one person listened, because I may not be in her story anymore. But she is still in mine. The world believed I was dead, until I showed them the proof she tried to bury. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, an orange in my trembling hands, peeling it the way Clara used to love. One long spiral, unbroken. The scent filled the room, sweet and sharp. It smelled like childhood, like promises. By morning, the sun stretched across the window, soft and golden. I wiped my eyes, stood up, and made my choice. Not revenge, not forgiveness, truth. I found the old tin box beneath my bed, the one Clara decorated with stickers when she was 10. Inside were the things she thought no one would remember. Her kindergarten drawing of me holding her hand under an orange tree, her first school award with my name signed Proud Mom, Marion Cole, and one faded photograph, me holding her as a baby, sunlight on her cheek, a real smile on hers. I laid them all out on the table. Then I called someone. His name was Daniel Ortiz, a small-town journalist known for exposing pretty lies. When I told him who I was, he went silent. The mother from the story, he whispered. The one who was supposed to be dead, I answered. Within hours, he was sitting in my living room, notebook open, camera still in his bag. I don't want money, I said. I don't want my face on TV. I just want it written somewhere real, that I existed. He nodded slowly, not like a reporter, like a son listening. I handed him the proof. Letters, school forms, birthday cards with I love you, mommy written in messy crayon. And then, the final piece. The doorbell camera footage from my neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, the one who saw everything. The shove, the oranges rolling down the stone steps, my body hitting the ground. Daniel watched it. He didn't speak for a long time. When he finally looked up, his voice was low. "Mrs. Cole, this will destroy her." "No," I said, "she destroyed this herself. I'm just done being silent." He published the article 3 days later. Headline: "The mother they said was dead. The truth behind Clara Cole's $1 million lie under it." A single image. My hands peeling an orange, the spiral resting in my palms. It spread like wildfire. By afternoon, hashtags were everywhere. "She's alive. NDR and Orange Dantley. NDR and Justice for Marion people" were angry. Not just for me, but for themselves. For every mother forgotten, every sacrifice rewritten. Clara stayed silent. Sponsors did not. Her investors pulled out. Interviews canceled. Her upcoming book tour, Orange Roots, Growing from Nothing, was pulled from every store, and for the first time in years, she called me. I didn't answer, not yet. I stepped outside to the little orange tree I had planted from the seed of the fruit she'd once kicked aside. It was taller now. Thin, but alive. "Just like me," I whispered. "We're still here." She finally called me, not as a CEO, not as a brand, but as a daughter. But this time, I was the one who didn't open the door. The phone buzzed on the table again. Clara. For the 5th time that morning, I stared at the screen, the tea in my cup untouched. Outside, sunlight filtered through the window, flickering across the small orange tree in the yard. The same tree grown from the fruit she threw away the day she called me an embarrassment. I let the phone ring, again and again. Finally it stopped. I breathed. Peace. But then, another sound. A softer one, a voice message. With trembling hands I pressed play. "Mom, please," she whispered. Not polished, not rehearsed, not the voice she used for interviews. "I know you hate me, you should, but please listen." I said nothing, but I listened. She continued, voice cracking. "Everything's falling apart. Sponsors are gone. Investors pulled out. People are calling me a fraud. They found the video. I can't walk outside without someone throwing oranges at my car." I almost laughed. Almost. She took a shaky breath. "But that's not why I'm calling." Silence. Then, words I hadn't heard in years. "I miss you." I closed my eyes. She kept going. "Mom, I messed up. I was so afraid of being nothing again that I erased the only person who ever made me something." My throat tightened. "You don't have to forgive me," she said. "Just don't hang up on me anymore." The message ended, but the storm did not. I sat there for a long time. The kettle whistled on the stove until it ran dry. Outside, the wind picked up, rustling the orange leaves gently, as if asking my decision too. I thought about the years, about standing in line for bread while Clara slept warm in our tiny apartment, about saving every quarter in a glass jar labeled her future, about sewing her prom dress by candlelight because the power bill was late, about her graduation, her first big speech, her first lie that I was dead. I thought about the shove, the door slamming, the oranges rolling into the street, and still, I felt my heart soften, just a little. Love is stubborn like that. I didn't call back, not yet, but I didn't delete the message either. Instead, I grabbed my coat, stepped outside, and walked to the little orange tree. The first blossom of the season had opened, white, silent, beautiful. I touched it gently. "I hear you," I whispered, not to Clara, but to the child she once was, the one who held my hand at crosswalks, the one who cried when I left for night shifts, the one who said, "Mom, when I'm rich, I'll buy you a big house with orange trees and sunshine." Maybe that little girl was still in there somewhere, buried beneath cameras and pride. Maybe. But forgiveness? That was a seed, and like every seed, it needed time. I went back inside as the phone buzzed one more time. This time, it wasn't Clara. It was someone else. Someone who could shatter everything. The caller wasn't my daughter. It was her assistant, and what she told me next made my blood run cold. The phone buzzed again. Not Clara this time. The caller ID read, "Vivian, assistant." I hesitated, then answered. "Mrs. Cole?" A quiet voice asked. "Yes, this is Vivian. I work for Clara." Her voice trembled like someone speaking in a place they shouldn't be heard. I didn't respond. I waited. She inhaled shakily. "She's gone." My chest tightened. Gone? Yes, Disappeared. No one has seen her since last night. Her car is still at the house. Her phone is off. She left her wallet behind. Just gone. Vivian's voice cracked, and the police think she might have come to you. My heart stopped. To me? After everything? I haven't seen her, I said firmly. I believe you, Vivian whispered. But her investors don't. They think she hid money. Millions. They think you helped her. I closed my eyes. The same people who once worshipped her now wanted her jailed. But that's not why I called, she continued. She left something for you. I froze. A letter, Vivian said. And a box. I didn't open it. I thought you should know. My knees felt weak. I sat down in the wooden chair beside the window, the orange tree visible through the curtain. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Vivian was silent for a moment, then softly said, because she cried when she wrote it. The call ended. I sat there for a long while. The quiet pressed against the walls like fog. Finally, I stood, slipped on my shoes, and walked outside. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in soft shades of apricot and gold, the color of ripe oranges. My thoughts spun like autumn leaves, gone, accused of fraud, a letter left behind. And now they were looking at me. As I reached the small orange tree, I touched one of its young fruits, still green but growing. My fingers lingered on it, as though it held the answer. For years, Clara had taken pieces of me, my love, my sacrifice, my story, and sold them to strangers. And now, the world she built on lies was crumbling. And yet, a letter. Why now, Clara? I stayed in the yard until the streetlights came on. The cool air smelled faintly of citrus and distant rain. Back inside, I locked the door. I boiled water for tea, jasmine, the kind Clara loved as a child. My hands paused over the teacup. Was I ready to read whatever she left behind? Was I ready to feel again? The phone buzzed once more, this time with a notification, an email from an unknown address. Subject line, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. Clara, my breath caught. The room suddenly felt colder. What was inside that email, and the letter waiting for me, wasn't an apology. It was a confession. The email sat on my screen like a ticking clock. I hesitated before opening it, my finger hovering over the mouse. Outside, wind brushed softly against the orange tree, nudging the leaves like a quiet reminder. Some things must be faced. I clicked. It opened to a plain white page. No greeting, just one sentence. If you're reading this, I'm already gone. Clara, my chest tightened. She continued. You always said choices are seeds, Mom. Some grow into trees. Some grow into graves. I think I've grown the wrong ones. I held my breath. I lied. About you. About our past. About everything. But the worst lie wasn't the one I told the world. It was the one I told myself. That I didn't need you. My eyes stung. But I read on. Margaret. Yes. The woman they all call my mother. She left. She took $5 million from the foundation's trust and vanished. She left a note on my desk. 2 words. Not real. A chill ran down my spine. The world knows now. The investors turned. Journalists are digging. They're calling me a fraud. A heartless daughter. And they're right. The cursor blinked at the bottom of the screen. But then, another line. They're coming for everything, Mom. My house is under investigation. My accounts are frozen. And the police, they want to talk to you too. They think I gave you the money. I closed my eyes. Of course, when the world collapses, it always crushes the quiet ones first. But the next part shook me. I left a box with Vivian, for you. Inside is proof you never asked for but always had the right to see. Things I kept, things I never should have. A pause. Also inside, you'll find 1 orange from your tree. I picked it the last time I drove by your house. I didn't knock. I just stood at the gate and watched from the car. I wanted to come in. I didn't. My hand covered my mouth. She ended the email with one final line. If you ever decide to forgive me, plant the seeds. If you don't, throw them away. Either way, I'll know your answer. No goodbye, no love, Clara. Just silence. I sat there, staring at the screen long after it dimmed into blackness. Then, I heard it. A soft tap at the door. Once, twice. I turned slowly, paused, got up. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob. Because deep down, I already knew who it might be. When I opened the door, it wasn't Clara, it was someone holding the box. And a warrant with my name on it. When I opened the door, I expected tears. Maybe Clara collapsed on the porch, begging to be let in. But it wasn't her. It was Vivian, Clara's assistant, face pale, eyes red from crying, and beside her stood a tall man in a gray coat. He wasn't crying. He was holding a badge. "Mrs. Marion Cole?" he asked. I nodded. "I'm Detective Aaron Blake, Los Angeles County Financial Crimes Division. We need to speak with you." Vivian clutched a small box in her hands. "My box, Clara's box." The detective continued, voice firm but not unkind. "Your daughter is missing, and according to financial records, she may have transferred a substantial sum of money to an unknown account under your name." I froze. "What?" My voice barely left my throat. Vivian stepped forward. She didn't send her anything. "I swear." "Clara asked me to deliver this." She held out the box, hands trembling. The detective's gaze followed it. "We're not here to accuse you, ma'am. We're here to verify facts, but until we do," he reached into his coat, "we have a warrant to search your home and property." A paper, my name printed clearly. I leaned against the doorframe. My knees felt weak. "Search my home?" I whispered. Vivian's voice shook. She left the letter inside the box. "Please, read it before they twist it." He nodded to two officers behind him. They began to walk toward my small living room. I stayed still, breathing, slow, calm, like I did when the world fell silent in hospital corridors. "Detective," I said finally, lifting my chin. "Before anyone touches anything, let me open the box." He hesitated, then nodded. My fingers hovered above the lid. The wooden surface was smooth and warm as if it had been held tightly before being brought here. I lifted it. Inside, on top lay a folded note, my name written in Clara's hurried handwriting. Beneath it, a single orange. My breath caught. It was perfectly round, golden, fresh, and next to it, a sealed envelope with my late husband's name on it, Paul Cole. My hand shook as I lifted it. It felt heavy, too heavy. The detective watched closely. "What is that?" "My husband's name," I whispered. "He died 20 years ago." Vivian wiped her eyes. Clara said it was something she wasn't supposed to have. And then, the detective leaned in. "Mrs. Cole, I need you to open it." I looked at the orange, then at the letter, then at the man demanding answers, but I already knew. Whatever was inside that envelope, it wasn't just about Clara, it was about me. I broke the seal. What I found inside didn't just clear my name. It exposed a secret my husband took to the grave. My fingers trembled as I broke the old paper seal. Paul's handwriting. After all these years, I would have recognized it anywhere. Strong, slanted letters, always written with a black ink pen. The room felt smaller. Detective Blake stood still. Vivian clasped her hands. The orange inside the box glowed softly like a memory. I unfolded the letter. The first line stopped me cold. "If you are reading this, Marion, then I am gone." My breath caught. I don't know if I died suddenly or if it was long and expected, but I do know this. Our daughter cannot know what I'm about to tell you. Not now, not until she's ready, maybe not ever. I felt the weight of every word. The detective stepped closer. I kept reading. "Do you remember the winter of 1996, when I drove to Sacramento for work? I didn't just go for business, Marion. I went because of Clara, because I was scared. My heart pounded in my ears. I found out something then, something about her biological father." The room blurred. I raised Clara like my own. I loved her instantly from the moment I held her. But I knew. I always knew. She wasn't mine by blood. My knees weakened. The detective's voice faded behind a fog. Vivian covered her mouth. Still, I kept reading, devoured every word. "You told me the truth before we married. I forgave you. I chose her anyway. But he, her real father, never stopped watching." Suddenly the air felt cold. "His name is written on the paper enclosed. He is wealthy now, powerful, and if he ever comes for her, or for you, this document gives you full legal ownership of the coastal land. Hide it. Protect it. For you, for her." The coastal land, the same land I later farmed oranges on. The same land Clara now wanted to claim, and at the bottom, his final words. "Clara was never my burden. She was my blessing. But the man who helped create her? He is the burden I leave behind." Paul's silence. The detective cleared his throat. "Mrs. Cole, are you all right?" I folded the letter carefully. Yes, I whispered, but this stays between us, for now. He hesitated, but nodded. Vivian, tears streaming silently, asked, "So, who is he? Clara's real father?" I didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, I reached into the envelope and pulled out a smaller slip of paper. The one with his name, one man, one truth that could destroy Clara's world more than any scandal. I pressed it against my palm and whispered, so only the orange tree outside could hear, "She has no idea who her real father is, and why he may be the reason she disappeared." The name on that paper wasn't just surprising, it was dangerous, and the next morning, he called me. I didn't sleep that night. Paul's letter trembled in my hands long after Detective Blake and his team left. They searched politely, respectfully, even apologized before leaving. They found nothing illegal. I had done nothing wrong, but the soil beneath my feet that had shifted forever. On the table lay two things: the orange from Clara, the name of the man who gave her life, but never gave her love. Richard Caldwell, a name I hadn't spoken in decades, a name I prayed would remain buried, powerful, wealthy, untouchable, and colder than the marble floors he walked on. I stared at the paper until the sunrise touched the windowsill, soft gold light glinting off the orange's skin. Then, the phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but something deep inside me already knew. With a slow breath, I answered. "Marion." His voice hadn't changed, smooth, expensive, poisonous. I said nothing. I heard Clara is in trouble. He spoke like someone commenting on the weather. She vanished, and now the world is looking for her mother. I gripped the edge of the counter. "You have no right to call me." He chuckled softly. "Oh, but I do. Legally, no bloodline, yes." I closed my eyes. Richard Caldwell, CEO, old money California elite, the man who once pretended to love me, then left me when I told him I was pregnant. "I don't know where Clara is," I said quietly. "Maybe not," he replied, "but she knows the truth now, doesn't she? Or soon will." My silence confirmed it. He continued, voice subtly sharpened. "Before she disappeared, she came to see me." My heartbeat froze. "What?" "Yes, 2 nights ago, unannounced. She stood in my office, shaking. She said she knew who I was to her, that she hated me, that you lied to her." My gut twisted. He sighed. Then she asked me for money. Typical Clara, always running toward power, never toward peace. "And did you help her?" I asked. He paused. "No, I don't help mistakes." The room turned ice cold. Mistake, like Clara was an inconvenient bill he'd forgotten to pay. I whispered, "She's your daughter." "No, she's your daughter," he replied, "and your problem." Then, before hanging up, he said one last thing. "But if she exposes my name, I'll destroy you both. And that land you treasure? I'll take it, all of it." Click. The line went dead. My hand shook. I looked at the orange on the table. Golden, whole, a symbol of everything real in a world full of lies. I whispered to the empty room, "You won't take anything from me, not again." Then, I noticed something. On my porch, a shadow, a shape, a person, standing silently, watching, waiting. It wasn't the police. It wasn't Richard. It was someone holding an orange blossom in their hand. And they whispered, "Marion, I know where Clara is." The figure on my porch stepped forward, moonlight touching their face. It wasn't the police. It wasn't Richard. It was Vivian. Her eyes were red, shoulders trembling. Yet in her hand she cradled something fragile, an orange blossom, not from her garden, from mine. She held it out like a message. "I know where Clara is," she whispered. My breath caught. "Alive?" She nodded, tears glistening in the porch light. "Yes, but she's not okay." I stepped aside silently. Vivian entered, gently placing the blossom on my kitchen table, right beside the orange Clara left me. "She's in a safe house," Vivian said. "Not police, not hospitals. She didn't want to be found, but she didn't want to disappear without telling you the truth." I sank into my chair, every bone heavy. "Why come to me?" Vivian's voice softened. "Because she's scared, and whether she admits it or not, she still believes you're the only person who ever loved her without cameras watching." Outside, the wind whispered across the orange tree branches. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I saw her. Not the woman on magazine covers, not the cold face behind marble doors, but the little girl who used to press orange slices against her teeth and smile like a sun. "Where is she?" I asked quietly. Vivian hesitated. "She's in Big Sur, at the old lighthouse cabin, where you used to take her when she was a child. She didn't remember it at first, but she does now." My chest tightened. That was the place where Clara first learned how to plant seeds, where she asked me once, "Mom, do orange trees remember the hands that planted them?" I stood up. Vivian's voice stopped me gently. "Before you go." She left this. She handed me one last envelope. I opened it. Inside, no lies, no excuses, just 7 handwritten words. "If you come, I'll open the door. Clara." I held the paper to my heart. I didn't pack bags. I didn't call lawyers. I didn't tell Detective Blake. I simply picked one ripe orange from the tree outside, soft, golden, warm from the morning sun, and I drove miles of coastline, the Pacific stretching like a secret beside me. My hands gripped the wheel, steady. When I reached the lighthouse cabin, the door was closed, worn, silent. I walked up the old steps, heart echoing in my ears. I knocked, once, then twice. The door creaked open. There she was. No makeup, no reporters, no cameras. Just Clara. Her eyes swollen from tears, hair unkempt, voice trembling like it used to when she was 5. "Mom." No speeches, no explanations. Instead, she opened her hands, and in them, seeds, orange seeds, from the fruit I planted, from the fruit she threw away, from the love she buried but never killed. She whispered, "Can we try again?" I placed the orange in her palms and whispered back, "Let's start with planting." She broke, and for the first time in years, she fell into my arms. Some wounds don't heal in public. Some apologies don't need microphones, just soil, seeds, and time. I don't know if the world will ever forgive Clara, but I know this. Trees grow after storms. So do mothers. So do daughters. And sometimes forgiveness doesn't begin with "I'm sorry." It begins with an orange seed pressed gently into the ground.